Hi friend, I'm Olivia Smith. Thanks for visiting my YouTube channel where I share the latest global news every day. You can also read more news on TimeGlitter.com. You can find all the links in the video description below. In case the link isn't working, simply copy and paste the link into your web browser, hit enter, and you're good to go. Now, let's jump into today's news. News headline: Unconscionable criminal justice bills could fuel soaring incarceration in Louisiana. News details: Louisiana's Republican-led government is getting ready to make big changes to the criminal justice system. They're meeting for a special session starting Monday. But many people who want to see changes worry this could lead to more people being put in jail. The governor, Landry, who is on the far right side of politics, called for this session. They're looking at around 24 different ideas. Some of these include making it harder for people to get parole, starting executions again, prosecuting younger people as adults, and changing how courts handle cases where someone might have been wrongly convicted or given too harsh a sentence. These changes might undo the progress made in 2017 when both Democrats and Republicans worked together to reduce the number of people in prison. Louisiana used to have the highest rate of people in jail in the country. But thanks to these efforts, things were improving, with fewer people being locked up compared to Mississippi. Landry, who used to be the state's attorney general, became governor in January. During his campaign, he focused on being tough on crime. He used to work as a deputy sheriff. When he took office, there were lots of flags from the Blue Lives Matter movement at his swearing-in ceremony. This movement supports law enforcement and is often linked with white nationalism. This marked the end of 8 years of Democratic leadership in the state in the southern part of the country. Landry announced this session on February 8th. He said they're going to make new laws that are tougher on crime to make the state safer. Louisiana has had some of the highest rates of violent crime in the country for a long time, but these rates went down after the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if people are worried about some of the new laws Landry wants to bring in, they say these laws won't make communities safer, will unfairly affect Black communities, and will cost the state a lot of money to enforce. Our elected leaders are focusing on punishment instead of preventing violence, said Sarah Omojola, who works for the Vera Institute of Justice in Louisiana. But what people really want is to stop violence from happening in the first place. One of the bills that lawmakers will talk about would make changes to how the state carries out executions. They want to allow a method called nitrogen hypoxia, which some people disagree with. They also want to keep using electrocution and keep the names of the people who supply lethal injection drugs private. Even though about 60 people are waiting to be executed in Louisiana, the state hasn't executed anyone since 2010. The previous governor, John Bel Edwards, who was a Democrat, said he was against the death penalty, but he didn't do much to stop executions during his time in office. Other bills would make it so that people stay in jail for longer times without a chance for parole. This would affect many cases, not just those involving violent crimes. The state would decide who is considered a dangerous offender based on things like past crimes, behavior in jail, and efforts to change. Landry wants lawmakers to change the rules for parole board hearings. He wants decisions to be unanimous before someone can get parole. The government will also talk about reversing a recent law that made it so most people under 18 are not prosecuted as adults. This was meant to protect young people from being mistreated in adult prisons. They'll also look at a law that would make it harder for people to get their convictions or sentences overturned after they've tried all their appeals. This would take away the ability of local prosecutors to waive deadlines for filing these applications. Local prosecutors, especially in New Orleans, have been using this process to fix mistakes from the past. They've been looking at cases where there was unfair treatment, like misconduct by prosecutors, not enough legal protections, and sentences that were too harsh or biased against certain groups. Samantha Kennedy, who works for a legal group in New Orleans, thinks Landry's ideas are dangerous and costly. She believes they're just a way to hide past mistakes, especially from the 1990s. Kennedy says these cases have lots of problems, and that's why there are systems like parole and other ways to check for mistakes. She thinks it's wrong to get rid of these safeguards. Don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment, share with others, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.